We are discussing a very important topic for all of you, how to publish a research paper. We are discussing today the tips for writing research publications and what are the writing strategies, what are the reviewer expectations, how we can publish without rejections. That is the today's topic. Okay, before starting the topic, you have to know, then in the previous days, it was just requirement for publications. But in a certain period of time, it changed as publish or perish. ඉස්සරම publication කියන එක only a requirement. But in a certain period, it is very important to continue with this academic journey. Publishing is very important. If not, you will be perish. That means you can't survive in the academy. And then next what happened, next period is in Sri Lankan context now, this is the situation, publish in high impact journals. Today in Sri Lankan context, we are considering publishing in a high impact journals or perish. Because not only publishing journal is requirement, today we need to publish in a good journals. That is must. If not, you will be perish. But when you come to the world context, that means publishing frequently in high impact journals and maybe you won't perish. That means you need to publish frequently to survive in the academic field. Now you understand that the publication is very important for all of us. Why actually we'll discuss this today's topic based on these 4 objectives. First one, we are discussing how we can enhance the publication quality and how improve acceptance rate and what are the expectations of reviewer and editor, and then how we can align publishing with promotion and grants. Right? These are the main objectives of the today's session. Right. Before that, we will discuss why publication matters. That is the first thing I am doing. That's why you need to know. That first thing is the career advancement and tenure. That means for the promotions, it is very important. In the academic field, it is very important. But in addition, any field, it is very important. Academic career advancement is, the publication is very important for your any career. And then institutional ranking and accreditation. Then when you publish more and more, what happens? Your institutional ranking will be go up. That means think about the universities. When you increase publication, quality of publication, your ranking will be go up. The world university ranking mostly based on the research publications. Then Colombo University, Wayamba University, that all our ranks based on the research publication. Therefore, it is very important for the country context because when you have a good publication, then your university rank at higher level, that will important. Then you can have more foreign students also for universities. That is very important thing. And then research visibility and citation. Because when you publish research, then you are visible to the world. That you know that when you come to the Google Scholar, Google Scholar, okay, when with your name, you will be having citations. Citations, now what happened? Then you are be popular in the world with your publication. Because you have more citations, you are visible to all world. And then other thing is funding and collaboration opportunities. You can have funding based on the research, right? If you're doing a good research, you can have funding from Sri Lankan institutes like in cash, right? They also given funds, and then World Bank. These people also given fund. Then you can collaborate in various people in the world. Actually, I also doing my research with various colleagues in different world. that I have some collaborate from India and some collaborate from Australia, some collaborate from Romania and Poland. There are different collaborators. We can have collaborate with different people with publication. Actually, that's a thing. It's very important journey. Publication is very interesting. That if you started that, you love it. නේද? පටන් ගත්තොත් ඒකට ආදරේ හිතෙනවා. But starting is the most important barrier. I know that. The first start is the most important. Then after that, you love to do publications. Then we will discuss what are the type of publications you can do. There are different types you can do. One is the original research articles. That means when you do complete your whole research, that after PhD research or master research or undergraduate, any research, you can publish article. Then that is based on the empirical data. That means you data analyze and then you can publish research articles. Then in addition, you can publish review articles. Now you are at the starting stage of your PhD or sometimes masters. You can write review papers. Actually, I am at the now final stage of PhD. When I'm starting my research, I have published actually several review papers. I published one on corporate governance and sustainability, a systematic review. That means with the starting point, you can prepare this type of paper. You don't require to stay until the end of your journey. That with the literature review, you can publish review papers. In addition, you can join with different conferences and you can publish conference papers. That another thing, now today's context, there are different book chapters. Now if you are searching the LinkedIn like that, you will be find several book chapter calls. Then you can publish book chapters also. That is also another method of publication. It is not like the empirical research paper. It is like a conceptual paper. Your concept, you can prepare with the paper and you can publish it. In addition, you can publish the case studies. You can publish different case studies like in Sri Lankan context that one school, you can have a case study about any problem of school, or it may be a hospital, right? Or it may be a business organization. If there is a problem and how this problem handled, you can write a case study. Like that, there are different types of academic publications. Then other thing you need to know about the journal ecosystem. There are different types of journals that you need to understand. First one is the index journal. That is the most preferred journals. Index journals. That means when you are find a journal in the literature reviews, that means you are finding articles, then you need to go to the index journals. That means we call as a Scopus Index, Web of Science Index, like that, that high ranked journals. Then you need to, like Emerald, we know, Emerald journals, and then Sage publications, Elsewhere publications, right? Taylor and Francis publication. Then you can see these publications are indexed. Then you can select journal articles from this type of journals. And there are certain journals called open access versus subscription. That when we come to the journal systems, some journals, articles are open access. Then what happens, this type of journal publication is costly because we need to pay APC, that is article processing charge. But you understand that it is not a compulsory requirement because we also mostly publish not open access journals because open access journals are very expensive. but it's good because its visibility is high. Anyone can see these articles. But thing is, we need to pay. Open access journals වලට අපි pay කරන්න ඕන. Then that will be costly. Then impact factor and site score. That means when you are considering a journal article, you need to consider the impact factor. Now in your journal, right, I will share you some example. I will show you it. I will show you some example. I will go to a publication like Journal of Business Ethics. Then you can see this is the Journal of Business Ethics. It's a very important high-ranked journal, right? Then this is the Journal of Business Ethics. You can see this is a Springer publication. Springer is a very important publication. And then in this journal, you are given all these ranking. You can see, I will show you. This is the, you can see about this journal. We will go to here. This, you can see the journal metrics. You can see the impact factor is 6.7. That means very important impact factor, right? And then 5-year journal impact factor 8.7. You can see the impact factor somewhat decreased, but it is around 5. That means very good journal, right? Then we go to the indexing. We'll see. This is, you can see, this is, you can have the open access article journal also. These are the things, right? You can see these are the latest articles. You can see these are the indexing. Can you see how much they index, right? Australian Dean Council Index is a very important thing. We are considering it as a very important criteria. And there is there are different things are there, right? You can see Scopus Index, then the Social Science Citation Index also there. Then you need to look at when you are selecting journals, these things. Now you can see this journal is a very important journal, high index journal. That's why there is a Social Science Index, Citation Index means a very high ranked journal. Right. And then in addition, you can think about here. Then Journal of Business Ethics. Anyway, we can find like this, Schemago. This is the Schemago. Any journal, then you can see whether this journal is good. Now you can see this is the Schemago ranking, right? Then here you can see this is the thing. You can see these are the citations. Q1 journal. See, Q1 is a very important thing because Q1 is the higher ranking. Then Q1 means that is a index journal. Then when you are reading articles, you need to consider this ranking also. High ranking journals are very important for the publication. And when you are writing literature review also, it is better to select this type of journal. Okay. We will go to our presentation. Right. Then the other thing is very important that I show the impact factor and site score. And then predatory journals that you need to consider. The most important thing is the predatory journals. That you do not publish articles in the predatory journals, or you do not read the article from predatory journals, right? Then you can see these are the things, right? Predatory journals means you are getting so many emails with these predatory journals. That is aggressive emails that I also get so many emails in one day to publish in this type of journal, right? there is a publication, right? These are the journal, right? Like that, you are getting invitation. That if you are getting invitation from this journal means it's not a good journal, right? Because the journal normally not invite for you. But when you come to the university journal, no problem. But if it is other publishers, then it's not a good journal, right? And then other thing is sometimes these journals are fake in the claim. Sometimes they are in the website, they are showing different type of indexing. But actually, they don't have this type of indexing. And then other thing is very fast acceptance. If they say within 5 days, within 10 days, you have publication, that means it is not a good journal. You need to understand. Fast acceptance means it's not a good journal. And then poor peer review. Sometimes that journals, they don't peer review, right? That you are sending. Sometimes you have to pay some payment and then you can publish, right? Then don't publish this type of journal, right? And then when you're looking at these journals, you can identify these journals by looking at their website. Because the actual journals, we have editor names and editor emails are there. But this type of journal, there is no editor emails. Sometimes there may be so many editor names, very popular names are there, but they don't have any emails. That means this is not a good journal. You need to understand. And then other most important thing, please don't try to publish by paying. You need to publish by, because without payment, we can publish so many journals. That's no problem, right? Therefore, it is better you can publish without APC, right? Because most of the journals, paying means, that means there is a problem. And then other thing is acceptance, higher acceptance. අපි දාපු ගමන්ම accept කරනවා paper එක. අපිට කියනවා review එකකුත් නැහැ, it will be accepted. Then that type of journals we call as a predatory journals, right? Therefore, please do not publish in this type of journals. And in addition, please do not read any articles from this type of journals, right? Then when you are considering the journal selection, you need to consider about your scope and audience match. That means I told that you are in one area like a management area, then you can select the management journal. If you are in a medicine, then you can select the medicine area. Like that, according to your area, you can select the journal. And then quartile selection that I show that Q1 is the best one. That is the best Q1. Then when you search the schema, then you can see whether your journal is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, right? Then you can select the Q1 papers. That is the first. Then we can select the Q2, and then like that you can do read the papers. And then acceptance rate. Then when there is an acceptance rate high means, that means it is not a good journal. Then acceptance rate is low, that means there's a public law is there. But the thing is that you need to consider the acceptance rate. It is very low. That means it's a good quality journal. And then review timelines. That is very important thing in the journal, because when you consider the review timeline, if it is a higher review timeline, that is not a good thing, that very high journal. Then you need to consider when you're selecting a journal. Okay, I will show another one example. I will go to the Emerald one, Asian Business Studies. We will have the Emerald Journal. This is the Journal of Asia Business Studies, right? Now, when you go to this journal, how you select the journal like this. This is the journal. You can see the most read, more site, right? Then you are given latest publication, right? Then there is a call for papers also there, right? And then you can see the journal about this journal. You can see how about their journal. Then ISSN is there, EISSN is there, right? And then you can see this title is aligned with this SDG. We will see the indexing. Then you can see the indexing and metrics. These are very important. You can see Scopus site score is there, 6.2. That is good, right? Then Scopus site score tracker 6.9. And then try, that is Cleverriot. That means this is the Web of Science indexing. That is 3 impact factor. That's good. Then 3.5 impact factor. But you can see the Journal of Business Ethics, it was 6, right? But here this one also somewhat good one, right? And then you are given the publication timeline. Time to first edition 48 days. Acceptance publication 35 days. And then acceptance rate 9%. Then you can see this, you can identify the 48 days, you will be get the first decision, right? Then after that, 35 days for the publication date. I think it's okay, it's manageable. In this type of journal, you can select for your publication. Everything is given in their journal website. Then when you are selecting a journal, always go to the this journal website and see about these details. Then you can see this is the editorial team is given. You can see all the editors, email address are there. Professor Sanjay Singh, then his email is available. That means this is a good journal. But when we come to the some journals, it may be that may be some journal, like I can't say some journals, you can't have any email addresses, then it will be considered as a fake journals. Okay, right. And that is the journal selection. And now we will come to the next stage that we discuss how to select a journal. Next, we are discussing how to structure your manuscript. Right? When you structure the manuscript, you need to consider these 4 things. First one is the IMRAD format. That is introduction, methodology, results, and discussion. That format. Then next thing, most important thing is the logical storytelling. That your research, I always telling it's like a story, right? That when you read, that means the person who read like to read this research. Therefore, it needs to be like a story. And then clear contribution flow, and then section should be balanced. Sometimes introduction, methodology, results, and the conclusion, this should be balanced. One will be more and other will be low. It's not good. It should be balanced. Then we will briefly explain about individual structure of an article. First one is the title writing. It should be very clear and concise. Title should be clear. That is very important thing. Some article titles are very lengthy, right? Then we don't like to read that article. Therefore, it should be clear. And then reflect clear contribution. That when you read the title, we can identify the contribution. Then avoid jargon, that there's a complex terms like a different model. These are not to be included in the title. And then search engine friendly, because that is also we need to consider for the citation, your title to be very user friendly. Ekane title එක බලලා දැන් අපි search engine කරන්නේ එහෙමනේ. දැන් think about my area corporate sustainability. Then I am searching corporate sustainability. එතකොට then my article will be cite when the corporate sustainability word will be in the title. If not, it will be included in the citation. Therefore, it is very important to consider the search engine friendly. Very that means keywords, that is for the title, need to be considered that about your research main words, right? If not, you will be not getting citations. And then abstract writing, that you can see the abstract writing is very important. That in this any research, the title and abstract is the most important thing. Then you need to show your uniqueness, originality, that this is the thing you found in your research. Then that is the focus of the abstract. Then you need to clearly explain the background and explain the gap, right? Background එක කියලා, gap එක කියලා. This is my objective. This is how I am done our study, right? This is my method, and this is my results, and this is the importance. These are the things you need to write in the abstract. Actually, abstract is a mirror of your paper. In the abstract එක බලලා තමයි finally we decide to read or reject. Therefore, the abstract need to be very clear, and then you need to show your uniqueness of the research. Right now, you can see here the new thing is in the abstract. Then I will read the paper. Then keyword selection. That keyword is another important thing of the research, because actually when you Google search, that when we get the article based on the keyword selected, right? Therefore, that to discover more, you need to select the correct keywords. Harima keywords use කරන්න ඕනේ. Right? That's why it is very important thing. Now I'm telling that my research is the corporate governance and sustainability. Then I need to consider the keywords as corporate governance, sustainability. Right? Then the people who search this article will find your article. Right? Therefore, it is very important to consider the keyword selection. And then use field specific term. අපේ field එකට අදාළ terms වල තමයි use කරන්න ඕනේ. Now you can see, think about the corporate governance area. We need to consider the agency theory. Like that, field specific terms need to be included. And align with journal scope. That is also very important thing. අපේ journal එකට අනුව තමයි අපි keywords හදන්න ඕනේ. Then it's a journal of business ethics. Then we need to consider our article also align with the ethics. And then keyword also we can include ethics, like that example, right? Then this is the most important thing in our research. Then we move to the introduction section, right? Introduction section also very important thing in the research. First thing, we need to conceptualize problem. That is the most important thing in the research. You need to conceptualize. අපේ මොකද්ද රිසර්ච් එකේ ප්‍රොබ්ලම් එක හරියට කියන්න ඕන. ඒක තමයි ඉන්ට්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එකේ වැදගත්ම කම. Right? For that, we need to synthesize literature. අපි literature review එකේ ලොකු detail එකක් යනවා literature. But in this introduction, we synthesize. ඒ literature ඔක්කොගේම summary එකක් තමයි we consider here. And then with the literature synthesis, we identify the research gap, and then we write the objective. That is the introduction, right? It's the problem making patangara. Problem maker, we identify with the literature synthesis and the research gap, and then we write the objectives. That is how the introduction need to be flow. Okay, next is the literature review excellence. Then second point is the literature review. Now you can see it's a small cartoon. Writing that book was a real strain, professor saying. Then the students say, reading it was too, right? Reading it was also too, right? Because that's why literature review is somewhat complex, because it need to be, because it should be with the jargon and everything, not like introduction, right? You need to consider your area expertise. But that is very important thing in the scientific article. That need to have some jargons, right? That because we need to consider the literature review to read by a expert, read by a not an general person, right? Read by who expert in that field. Therefore, literature review somewhat have more jargon compared with the introduction. Then here mostly you need to write as a synthesis, not a summary. That I always saying, literature review is not a summary. Some people are writing, he said, A said this, B said this, C said this, like that. It is not the literature review. Literature review, you need to write a synthesis. That means you read some papers and you get the idea and you can collect the similar ideas once, and then you can write that sentence. Now you can see example like this. අපි කියමු A කියනවා corporate governance and sustainability, there is a positive relationship. And then B also saying positive relationship. C also saying positive relationship. Right? Now we know that these three are similar findings. Then I can write one sentence. Researchers found the positive relationship between corporate governance and sustainability. And I can write the literature within the bracket. Like the synthesis is there. Right? You need to compare and contrast findings. Then if it is a negative finding, you can write like that. And then if it is the same reason, you can find like that. You can, that is the synthesis. It's not a summary, right? And then always need to identify the trends and gaps. You have to identify the patterns in the literature review. Similar results at once, and then you can compare with the different results. Like that, you can write the literature review, identifying the research gaps. That is also very important thing. That when you write in a paper, you can say this research has not done this area, therefore we need to consider that gap. Other important thing is cite recent and relevant work. හැම වෙලේම අපි cite කරන්න ඕන recent and relevant work. Recent papers. දැන් අපි සමහර publications වලට යනකොට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ papers තියෙන 88, 89, 90 අන්න ඒ වගේ පරණ ඒවා. එහෙම බෑ. You need to publish the recent papers. ඒ කියන්නේ හැම වෙලේම publications වලදී අපි බලන්න ඕන අලුත් papers උත් include කරන්න. පරණ ඒවා seminal papers තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා ගන්නවා. ඊට අමතරව කලින් මේ ළඟකදී publish කරපු ඒවා අපි ගන්න ඕන. And then you need to consider the research gap. ඒ papers එක අපේ මොකක්ද තියෙන gap එක. වෙනස මොකක්ද? We need to highlight that. That is I told that research gap identification is the most important thing in the literature review. Right? Then here you need to consider what is missing. බලන්න ඕනේ paper එක කියවලා විශේෂයෙන්ම you can read the paper and at the end of the day there is a conclusion. The conclusion එකේ පල්ලෙහාම තියෙනවා we miss these things. We don't discuss these things. Limitations වල කියලා තියෙනවා. මේවා කළා නැහැ. Then we need to identify that gap. That is one way we can identify the gap. And then why it matters. ඇයි මේක වැදගත්? You need to consider why it is important. And then how your work feel. That is the thing you need to understand. You go to read the paper, that you can read the conclusion and see there are limitations, and then you see that limitation, why it is important, and then how we can deal of this. Right now, you can see example like this, that in the research paper, they are saying they don't, that this research is considered only for the developed economics. අපි කියන paper එකේ කියලා තියෙනවා developed economics වල විතරයි කියලා තියෙන්නේ. Emerging economics වල කරලා නැහැ. Now you can say, what is it? Now there is a missing. They don't, this area, there is no research in the developing context. Then it is very important to consider in the developing context. Why? Because developing context is different from the developed economy. Right? Then you have to highlight that gap. And then you can identify how your work feel it. How your work feel it, you need to consider. Then next is the method section. What are the things you need to consider the method section? Very important, you need to consider in the method section reproducibility, right? Because that the people who read this paper, they can understand your methodology, and they can also do this type of research. ඒකින්ද හැම වෙලේම method section එකේ හිතන්න ඕන මම මේ ලියන methodology එක තව කෙනෙක්ටත් understand කළ තව කෙනෙක්ටත් මේකම කරන්න පුළුවන් ද කියන reproducibility. That is very important thing. And then transparency. That means you need to disclose about all steps of the method. මම මේ research එක කරේ කොහොමද කියන එක හරියට ලියන්න. Right? That is very important. You need to be clear. Transparency. you need to consider the justification of choice. අපි හැම එකක්ම ඇයි මේක කරේ? Now think about you are selecting the quantitative method. You need to mention why you have selected the quantitative study. Quantitative research එකක් කරේ ඇයි? Questionnaire එක කරේ ඇයි? Right? Then you need to think about the Likert scale අපි questions ගන්නවා. Why you select the Likert scale? Right? You need to justify. Method එකේ හැම දෙයක්ම අපි justify කරන්න ඕන literature එක්ක. Right? Random sampling කරා නම් නැත්නම් convenient sampling කරා නම් ඒකේ literature වලට කියන්න ඕනේ මේක ඇයි අපි convenient sampling කරේ. Right? You need to consider these things in the method section. Right? Very important thing. That reproducibility, that is important, and the transparency and the justification of choices. Then you can see these are the method section main components that we need to explain the design that you have mentioned, that you have to consider about the conceptual framework, right? Quantitative, qualitative study, you can explain with the research onion, right? Quantitative study එකක්ද කරලා තියෙන්නේ, qualitative study එකක්ද, right? And the research philosophy. And then you can mention about your conceptual framework, independent variable, dependent variable, right? And then operationalization of variables, right? Those things we can explain in the design. And the data sources, you have to concern how you get the data. Primary data, that is directly you get, or you can get the secondary data. And then these things need to be justified with the literature. And then you need to explain about the analysis technique. Analyze kare kohomada කියලා කියන්න ඕන. Now think about you are using regression or you can use the correlation. Then you have to mention the analysis technique. And then you have to explain these with the justification. හැම වෙලේම මතක තියාගන්න ඕන justification is very important. Right? And then we have to discuss data collection is very important. Right? You need to consider about the sample. Sample is the most important thing in the research. Sample justification is very important. Now you can think about you are select Sri Lanka, then you need to have a proper justification. Right? It may be sometimes you select Kurunegala district, Colombo district. You need to have a proper justification of these things. Right? That is very important thing because most of the conferences or publications always ask about the sample, right? Therefore, you need to have a clear justification why you select the sample, why you select the sample size. Size එක ගත්ත එකක් justify වෙන්න ඕන. Right? Sample size is very important. Now you can justify with the Morgan table. The Morgan table එකෙන් පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් if it is there is a statistical calculator or anyhow you need to justify the sample size. Right? Sample size එක justification is very important. And then sample selection method. Then ගොඩක් අය convenient sampling කරනවා. Right? But it is okay, but you can justify it. Convenient sampling. You can select the research article and you can justify the convenient sampling. Right? But if you are selecting the purposeful sample, then you need to justify that. Right? That, and then next consider about the questionnaire. Then when you are considering the questionnaire survey, you are using the Likert scale. Then there should be the justification for the Likert scale. If it is a 5-point Likert scale or 7-point Likert scale, why you get that? It need to be very clearly explained in your research paper. And then next is how you data collect. Then it may be you are going to meet these people, physical interviews, and you collect the data. Then you need to mention why it is there. Right? Or if it is an online survey, then you have to say, right, why you take online survey. Right? That need to, all these things need to be justified with the literature. That is very important. Right? And the data collection, if it is interviews, qualitative, then you have to justify the interview protocol, how you build. Right? And then when you are having a questionnaire, then it should be actually, if you prepare a questionnaire, then should be having with the expert evidence, right? Then should be having the expert judgment, right? Pilot survey. Those things need to be included. Then next one is the data analysis text. Then data analysis also you need to consider when you are writing that so many people are missing the data cleaning. That is a very important thing in your data analysis. And data tika ආවට පස්සේ data clean කරපු එක අපි මුලින්ම කියන්න. Have you considered about the missing values? The missing value analysis එක කොහොමද කරේ? Right? And then have you cleaned the data? Right? Sometimes there may be outliers. ඒ කියන්නේ ගොඩක් වෙනස් data තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට ඒවා අපි අයින් කරන්න ඕන. මේ පැත්ත මුලින්ම කියන්න ඕන. I don't think some people are not right in that. That is the most important thing, data cleaning. And then next you need to consider what you select the software. What type that, think about you are selecting a SPSS. Then you have to mention why you select the SPSS software, right? Why you select this regression method. You need to clear mention. Now you can see so many people now today using the smart PLS, partial least squares regression method. Then you have to mention why you select that software, right? Then that is very important thing. And then you need to next, you have to have the validation method, right? Then in the analysis, very important, the statistical rigor. That means you have to consider the appropriate test for your objective, right? Then you can think about you are analyzing the relationship, then you can have the correlation example. Then it is an impact, then you can have the regression, right? Therefore, you need to consider the appropriate test. Then if it is a different, we consider the mean difference again, we can have some independent t-tests like that. Different t-tests are there. You can calculate the mean difference. Then you need to consider the correct test. That is very important thing. And then you need to report p-values. P-values වල තමයි අපි කියන්නේ නේද? P-value less than 0.05 we scale as a significant. Right? ඒ කියන්නේ P-values අනිවාර්යෙන්ම කියන්න ඕනේ. And then effect size and avoid misuse. අපි හරියටම කියන්න ඕනේ මේවා. Right? Because that is very important thing. Because I have that there's a common error is sometimes the P-value is 0.05. That means the P-value is greater than 0.05. Then you are saying positive insignificant relationship. That is not good. It should be no relationship. Like that, avoid misuse, right? If it is p-value is greater than 0.05, that means no relationship. That you need to consider those things when in your mind, when you write in the data analysis, that is the result section. Then findings. Next, what you need to do, you have findings, right? Then each and every objective, you need to have findings, right? Very important. You write the objectives, findings, right? Always align the results with the objective. That is very important thing, right? Then in the results also, there should be logical flow. Now, when you're writing the research results, then you need to have a logical flow. Then initially you need to consider about the data cleaning, and then you need to consider about the descriptive analysis, and then correlation and the regression. Like that, there need to be logical flow, right? And then actually in the starting, there's you can have the demographic profile. That is also very important thing. And then objective presentation. According to your objective, we can actually align results. හැම වෙලේම objective එකට අනුව අපි align කරන්න ඕන result එක. Now we can see example to examine the level of corporate governance තමයි මගේ පළවෙනි objective. Then I am having the first result section to examine the level of corporate governance. Then I have prepared a paragraph by using the descriptive analysis. And then second objective is the relationship. Then I have write the objective. Then this is the results, correlation table. Like that, you need to explain according to the objective. Then it is easy for the reader. Finally, no interpretation that you need to consider. In this result section, only we will write the results, right? Only we write the insights and you write the result. There's no interpretation in this result section. Then when we come to the here, tables and figures are very important, right? Because these are the problems when you are writing the papers. Clear captions. That means all the table require a heading, and then all the table require a caption. That is like source. You need to mention the source of this table. If you are constructed, you write author constructed, or if you adapted from that another source, then you can write the adapted. And then high resolution. Then another very important concern in these articles is some people copy images from web and sometimes some sources and paste to this your article. That is wrong, right? Always you need to consider, you need to prepare your diagrams. Paper එකේ තියෙන හැම diagram එකක්ම අපි ඇඳපු ඒවා වෙන්න ඕන. Right? You can't copy and paste. Right? Then it should be high resolution because it should be clear to everyone. And then avoid redundancy. එකම figures දාන්න එපා. Right? Now you can see that you need to have a summarized figures because there should be no more tables and figures. Right? It should be less. And then next come to the discussion. Now, I told that in the results, we don't have interpretation, discussion, we will write the interpretation. Api then result එක interpret කරනවා. Now, I have corporate governance and sustainability, positive relationship. Then I will say there is a positive relationship of corporate governance and sustainability, right? This is consistent with so and so. This is similar and this is different from this. Like that, I will explain with the literature, right? And then I will have with the theories, I explain with the stakeholder theory. Like that, I need to explain with the literature. And then I will explain the significance. And then I will tell that this research is very important for the whole world because there's a positive relationship that is very important, not only our country, it will be important for all the developing economies. They need to consider the corporate governance to improve the corporate sustainability. Like that, you need to explain the significance, right? Discussion is very important part in your research article, right? You need to interpret results and then you need to compare with the literature and significance. හැම වෙලේම මේ discussion එකේ තමයි අපි literature එක්ක compare කරන්නේ. Then this handling limitations also very important, right? Other thing, some people are writing limitation as time factor. Please don't write time factor as a limitation. Time එක අපි හැමෝටම මදි නේ. ඒක හැමෝටම පොදු එකක්. ඒකින්ද time factor එක දාන්න එපා limitation වලට. හැබැයි if there is a limitation, you need to write it. Be transparent. අපි data collection එකේදී අපිට මේ convenience sampling විතරයි අපිට කරන්න ඕනේ. It may be, you need to mention, these are the limitation, right? And then you write what happened with this limitation, impact. And then avoid defensive tone, right? You need to, don't have defensive, but you need to mention about very clearly, these are the limitations. And then finally, the conclusion. Conclusion is the most important part, like introduction. You need to summarize contribution. Then කියන්න ඕන අපේ research එකේ මොනවද contribution කියලා, right? Then you have to mention about the practical implications, right? What are the theoretical contribution you need to consider? අපේ theory එකට අපේ මේ research එකෙන් වැදගත් වෙන්නේ කොහොමද? Practically කොහොමද වැදගත් වෙන්නේ? Future issues කොහොමද වැදගත් වෙන්නේ? These things you need to mention. Then in the contribution, these are the things you need to consider. First one, theoretical contribution. Then mage research එකෙන් මම මොකක් හරි කරනවා, right? That in my research, the world has done different things, but I include a mediator or moderator. Like that, I include the small part to the theory, right? Then that is the theoretical contribution, right? You have include the new variable, right? That is, or sometimes in a variable measuring method, then I include one sentence for that. It is also a theoretical contribution. අපි හිතමු U-tout model කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට අපි පොඩි variable එකක් include කරනවා. Right? Then that is the theoretical contribution. Right? Theory එකට අපි අලුත් දෙයක් include කරනවා. Now, when you are doing research, then you are introducing mediator, moderator, like that, then it is the theoretical contribution. And then methodological contribution means what? That you will do the research in a different way. Then කලින් අය quantitative කළා මම කරනවා qualitative. නැත්නම් මම mix කරනවා. That is the methodological contribution. And then next one, the practical relevance. මේ research එක කොහොමද practically important? Practically important for the companies, individuals, like that, these things need to be highlighted. Then finally, the future research direction. You need to consider the future path. ඉස්සරහට මොනවද කරන්න පුළුවන් අපේ research එකේ. You need to consider, right? That you have to say, these are my limitations in the future. These need to be considered. Okay, that's a question. Yes, that also you can mention. That's also no, but I that also not a good way, budget constraint. Okay, right. Now we come to the referencing and citation. That is also very important thing, right? Referencing and citation, because you need to consider the journals type. According to the journals, referencing are different. දැන් අපි හිතමු Emerald එක ගත්තොත් ඒගොල්ලෝ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට APA යනවා. හැබැයි MDPI journals වල යන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙම reference style එක. Then you need to consider the journal style. And then it is easy, you can use the reference manager, because now today there are Mendeley is there. Mendeley is freely available. Zotero is available. Then ඒවා වලින් referencing කරනකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වැරදි නැහැ. අනිත් එක එකපාරක් අපි හැදුවට පස්සේ අපිට ඕන ජර්නල් එකට අදුව ඒක වෙනස් කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. That is also a good technique. And then avoid excessive self-citation. That is another problem I find this today's context. නේද? සමහරු self-citations ගොඩාක් දානවා. එතකොට එක paper එකක තමන්ගේ journal article cite කරනවා 10ක් 15ක්. Very bad thing, right? It's only one is okay, but if it is more than that, please don't cite your citations in same paper. Right? That is not ethical, and then it is not good also. Then a very important thing, you have to consider the plagiarism and ethics, right? That there are types of plagiarism. That means self-plagiarism is also there. Now you can think that you have published a paper, right? But you can't write that paper's content in another paper. Right? That is the self-plagiarism. Then you need to mention the author of that paper. That is very important. Self-plagiarism also not a good thing. And අනිත් එක සමහරට එක paper එක තියෙන ඔක්කොම content එක ඊළඟ paper එකට ආවොත් that also not good thing. Right? That we consider. And then other things, if you write any other paper, නේද? අනිත් අයගේ paper එකක තියෙන ඒවා paste කරලා ඒකේ author ගේ නම කියන්නේ නැතුව ලිව්වොත් එතනත් plagiarism හවු වෙනවා. Right? That you need to consider. If other thing is, අපි හිතනවා දැන් copy කරලා paste කරලා ඒ author ගේ නම ලිව්වම ඇති කියලා. වැරදි. Right? That you need to consider. Then also you are caught for the plagiarism. What is the best way? You need to read the paper. Right? And then you need to get the idea, and you need to write according to your idea. Right? You don't change the meaning. ඒකට කියනවා paraphrasing කියලා. Right? අපි paragraph එකක් කියවලා ඒකේ idea එක අරගෙන ඒක අපේ word එකකින් ලියලා අර අපේ author ගේ නමත් පල්ලෙහාන් පිටිපස්සෙන් ලියනවා. ඒක තමයි හරිම method එක. Right? If not, what happen? You will be caught for the plagiarism. Now there is a turn-in software is there. Right? Then if you do plagiarism, it will caught. Right? Then there are thresholds. Normally, in Sri Lankan context, most of the journals shows a 20%. 120ක් අපිට plagiarism allow කරනවා. හැබැයි when we come to the international journals, it means 10%. 10% විතරයි අපි allow කරන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි කාගෙන් හරි බලලා අපි ලියන එක allow කරන්නේ 10%. ඊට වඩා වැඩි වුණොත් the paper will be rejected. And ethical compliance හරිම වැදගත්. අර මං කිව්ව විදිහට paraphrase කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපි ඒක ලියනකොට එයාගේ idea එක වෙනස් වෙන්නත් බෑ. That is also you need to consider. දැන් එයා කියලා තියෙන එකක් ඔයා කියලා වෙන එකක් එහෙම කියන්න බෑ. right? You need to read the paper and get the idea and write in your own words without changing the idea, right? That is the ethical compliance. Then next come to the very important thing, authorship criteria. Second author, third author, like that, you need to have according to the contribution, right? You need to consider the contribution is very important, right? And then if you don't have the author, but some people you help, you can write in the acknowledgement section. And then the people who are not contribute, don't include as an author. That is also very important thing. Then now we come to the submission. Submission. You need to consider the formatting compliance, right? That in different journals, there is a formatting requirement. Accordingly, you need to format. දැන් අපේ එක ජර්නල් එකට එක ෆෝමැටින් තියෙනවා. දැන් අපේ ලයිබ්‍රරි එකේ ජර්නල් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒතර ඒකේ තියෙන ෆෝමැට් එක වෙනස්. එතකොට ඒ වගේ අපි එක එක ජර්නල් එකේ ෆෝමැට් එකට අනුව අපේ පේපර් එක හදා ගන්න ඕනේ. And the language check is very important because when we consider for the other international journals, their natural language is English, right? Therefore, we need to consider the language check. You can use the Grammarly, like that software is there, right? You can check the grammar. That is very important thing. And then figures ready. Figures also you need to prepare according to their guidelines. That is very important thing. And then most important thing you don't consider is the cover letter to editor. Now, if you are sending a letter to an international journal, cover letter is very important, right? In the cover letter, we don't consider that, but that is the most important thing. මේ cover letter එක හරියට ලිව්වේ නැත්නම් අපේ paper එක desk reject වෙනවා. එතකොට අපි කරන්න ඕන cover letter එකේ we need to explain about the significance of our paper. And then we need to tell about how it fit to the journal. And then you need to consider about the ethical declaration. මේ ටික අපි කියන්නේ. Right? You have to mention my paper is very significant because it's a Sri Lanka, this type of country. It's very important country, right? We are facing these disasters and we are bankruptcy situation, right? We are in the unique context. Therefore, this paper is very important. And this paper is related to the corporate governance. Your journal is corporate governance. Therefore, I'm writing for this journal. And then I consider the ethics, right? When I'm preparing the questionnaire, we consider the confidentiality nature. Like that, you need to consider those things and write a letter. This is very important thing. Editor look at this paper, this letter, and decide accept or reject. Then we'll discuss the peer review process. Then initially editor review screen, right? That initially I told that cover letter and screen your paper and doing the desk reject or acceptance. ඉස්සෙල්ලාම paper එකේ අර මුලින්ම abstract එක බලනවා, right? And then letter එක බලනවා, title letter, then they are this accept or this reject, right? Then if it is accept, then assign a reviewer for your paper, right? And then reviewer look at your paper and decide major correction, minor correction, accept or reject. These are the things they are doing. Then reviewer expectations. Now I told about the editor. Now reviewer expect the novelty. What is your uniqueness of your research? And the rigor. That means you have followed the basic concept. I told that the research rigor is very important. Static api ඉගෙන ගත්ත introduction IMRAD format එක කොහොමද ලිව්වේ? අන්න ඒ විදිහට ලියලා තියනවාද කියලා බලන්න. And then clarity, very important. English, right? That is very important. And then consider about the ethics. That is also we are considering plagiarism, no plagiarism, right? These things they are considering. And then you need to consider these are the reasons for the rejection out of scope. Then අපේ scope එකෙන් අයින් වුණොත් then it is reject. Now it is a journal of corporate governance. මේකට මම ඉවනවා medicine paper එක. Then it is reject, right? Out of scope. And then weak novelty. If it is not new, then it is also rejected. And then finally, poor writing, that is also rejected. Right. There is a last now, only a few slides. The response into reviewers. Then you have to remember when you're responding, don't like do this. Make it that එහෙම review comments දෙන්න හොඳ නැහැ. It should be polite and structured. හැම වෙලේම හැම reviewer comment එකටම අපේ response එක ලියන්න. මේ comment එකට මේ reviewer කිව්වේ හැම එකටම අපි table එකක් හදලා reviewer ගේ comment එක අපේ response එක ඒක හරියට පැහැදිලිව අපි ලියන්න ඕන. Right? Then when you are having the major revisions also you have to prioritize critical comments and then revise and always highlight the changes in the paper. හැම වෙලේම paper එකේ highlight කරලා අර table එකේ දාලා you need to prepare the major revisions. Then sometimes there may be disagreement with reviewer that I also found sometimes. මේගොල්ලෝ කියනවා sample එක වැඩි කරන්න කියලා. එතකොට but then you need to be professional tone and then you have to provide justification. ඇයි මේක වැඩි කරන්න බැරි? Right? With the references you have to say we have taken this sample, right? According to this Morgan, it is sufficient. And then you have to say this is sufficient for your research. Then like that, you need to be clearly mentioned. Our author response table, okay, you need to consider that. Then handling rejection. Now, sometimes you are getting rejected, right? That is another thing. Rejection, learn from feedback. Reject wenama. That means I remember my first paper rejected by a big journal. Then what happened? I also feel sometimes worried. But I learned from that feedback because they are giving feedback. These are the things you need to improve. And then I improve that with that guidelines. And then I submit in a different journal. In a strategically because I changed some title and change the content and improve the paper and submit to another journal. Then now it has been published. Then when you are consider finally the publication metrics, you need to consider citations, H-index and journal partners. Right. Now we are in the final stage. We need to have a productivity system, right, for all of us. Then there should be writing schedules for your busy time. Like I know that you all are busy. With that time, you allocate few hours for one day with for your research article writing, right? And then collaboration is very important thing. That is the most important thing. I know that you are you have some peer groups. And then you can write publication. That I also publish so many papers with this collaboration. I have some peer groups. I have some colleagues, my colleagues, and then we actually collaboratively write the paper. Sometimes I'm doing a very small part, right? Then all of others also doing some parts. And then it is easy to write and publish journals. Collaboration is very important thing. Final slide, that is the key takeovers. Then you need to consider publish strategically, right? That means I told that you need to publish research like a story. That is the most important thing, right? The objectives, method, and the results, and the conclusion. ඒක තමයි වැදගත්. අපි කියන්න ඕන research එකේ මේවා තමයි objective එක. That now I told that if it is my research, the corporate governance and sustainability, I have done why? Because in Sri Lanka, there's a sustainability issues, right? Environmental issues. We know there's a disaster come, right? This type of situation, sustainability is very important in Sri Lanka, right? But you know, the corporate governance is important to achieve the sustainability, right? Therefore, but there is a limited research in the world as well as Sri Lanka. Therefore, I done this research. And then I have to mention, I done this research based on the correlation analysis using this type of sample. And then my findings are, there's a positive relationship between corporate governance and sustainability. And this is very important, right? This is very important study. It is add the new knowledge to the stakeholder theory. And it is important not only for the Sri Lanka, but also for the world to improve the sustainability. Like that, you need to write a story, right? Then that is the publish strategically. You need to like a story and you need to follow the all guidelines, right? I have today mentioned, then you can be success. And then write for reviewers. You need to write for the reviewers and then maintain ethics. That is very important. Do not do the plagiarism. Do not do the self-plagiarism, right? Those are very important things. And then you can build sustainability, right? Then when you start this journey, you will love the journey, right? Then you can be a better author in the future and you will be popular in the world also, right? Those are the things I want to discuss. Thank you so much. If you have any question, I think I made the presentation somewhat longer. I don't know, it will be boring or something, right? If you have any questions, this is the time for you to ask. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's
if you have
one
any questions,
yes,
yeah.
about indexing. Yes, indexing means actually that there are different type of indexing are there, right? That like I told, that Scopus indexing is there. I show you one thing. I will show because I will show. Then you can see this. This is the Journal of Business. I will go to a different journal. Then I can understand. This is the Asian Journal of Business. This is Scimago, Journal of Asia Business Studies. Then this Scimago is a very important criteria, right? Then in this, when you are having this Scimago journal and country rank, that is very important to see your indexing or that impact factors. You can see in this, they are given this indexing Q1, right? They are giving this T, right? And then you can see this is the Journal of Asia Business Studies that you can see indexing is there here. This you can see the Scopus indexing. Scopus indexing is a good that when you go to the journal, indexing goes, and then you can see this these things. Then Scopus indexing is a good journal if it is a, and then this is a Cliverate analytics, that is a Web of Science indexing. If it is a Web of Science indexing, is actually better than the Scopus, right? Then you can see 3.5 impact factor is there. Then this type of journal is good. And then in addition that some journals are ranking here. You can see the Scopus is there, emerging sources citation index. Then you can see this Australian Business Dean Council index. That is also very important thing. A, B, C like that. Right? A is the better one. Right? B, C is also somewhat good. There also you can, there is a Australian Dean Council journal ranking. You can see here, that's this is a journal quality list is there, right? Then here also you can write your journals, and here you can write the journal and see your journal rating is there. See, I will write one Journal of Business Ethics. You can see this one also good. In Sri Lanka, we have this Journal of Business Ethics. You can see the Journal of Business Ethics A, right? This is the A. Then if it is A means that is a good journal, right? Sri Lanka also we have International Journal of Business Studies in Japan. Then that is also C-rated journal. That is also good, right? These are the indexings, right? You need to consider when you go to the journal website, they are given this journal is index or not, right? Okay, I think I have answered for your question. Okay, plagiarism check-in means the turned in is there. Turned in, actually, I don't have that these days, the turned in. You can see here, there's a turned in plagiarism checker is there. Turned in. This is the, you can see AI also detected by the turned in, right? Then this is a turned in plagiarism checker. Then you can check here the 13 plagiarism. Is you can have, this is a small thing, we can actually paste that here, and then you can get the 13 score here, right? That is the plagiarism. This is not a 13 month. Let's show 13. This is the 13 similarity. This is a plagiarism software, right? There you can actually upload your document and you can check the plagiarism similarity and the AI. That is also you can check, right? Scopus journals. There are different Scopus journals are there, but you can actually, when you go to this Scopus, this is the Scopus is there. It's the Scopus search. This the Scopus is there, right? Then you can find the journals here, right? Okay, you can see that here you can find the journals. In the Scopus, you can find the journals are there. It. Okay, you can see here, these are the, this is the sources. You can see, there are different sources are there. Here, you can see when you go to the Scopus, you can select your subject area. Right now, think about the food science. If it is food science, apply. You can get the journal articles in the food science. These are the food science journals, right? Then you can see that higher citations are there, site scores are there. Then you can see the nature sustainability is a highest ranking journal, right? In this website, you can get the subject area. We can see, think about any area. Right, I will take example, religious studies. Then we can apply religious studies. Then you can see these are the religious studies, food science. I can't remove food science. Now you can have the religious studies. These are the journals, right? The Muslim journals are there, right? And these are the juries, psychology. These are the journals, right? You can see from the highest cited score to lowest is rank. Then these are the religious. You can find with the Scopus, right? Anyone you can find your area and find the Scopus journal. Okay, I think I answered this one, or I can share the link to the chat also. Right. Then next one, is there any minimum qualification required for research to publish? No problem. Actually, there is no any minimum qualification is not required, right? You can actually that when you publish, it may be important to have a lecturer with your publication. I don't think that one person you can publish it, but then anyone can publish in international journals, no problem, right? There is no minimum qualification that if it is a lecturer is there, no problem, right? You can publish in any journal, no problem. No requirement, qualification, right? Okay. Do publishers usually take more time for the second round of revision than the first in the major question Q2 journal? It depends on the journal. Sometimes some memorial journals take more time. I remember one journal actually we submit in 2022, but actually it has published in 2025. Right? But some journal, it's not like that, right? It is depend on the journal. That's why you need to look at the website and see the dates of the acceptance, right? Okay. I think I have answered all questions. Please tell me whether I have answered your questions. It is better. Okay. Any other questions?